This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and I have special guest James Lichi Hernandez today. How are you doing?
Hey, doing good, Eggman.
Good to hear. And this past weekend, you decided to bring Alphamon, something I think was off everyone's radar. It's just not viable anymore. And you were able to get second place at PlayTCG's Digimon Webcam Regional, which had almost 500 players at that event.
Yes, sir.
And obviously still overwhelmed from it. You're still very mellow about all your tops, but I think it's a really big accomplishment, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the deck list, your matchups, but I think the first question probably on everyone's mind is, why did you still kind of stick with this deck, this archetype, even after the nerf?
Well, thank you for the praise, but yeah, if everyone remembers, I did the whole Dorbic deck for a week on the start of the EX3 format.
Mm-hmm.
Then I tried out Alphamon afterwards, or in between, and it felt really bad, not gonna lie. The deck was pretty horrible at first. Over time, the more I played it, because black is my color,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I have to fix this deck somehow, and I believe that it could be fixed. Then the more I played it, the more improvements I had with it. I got to play Alphamon. It's not the first big event I played with it.
Mm-hmm.
After the Dorbic list, I got X3 on a Ulti Cup, then X2 on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And for every single tournament or loss, I did changes and I decided which one works, which doesn't. And overall, I ended up with this list. And now it feels super consistent and extremely well into the format.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw it a couple times that weekend. It was very, very strong. And yeah, I think a lot of people want to see the changes and improvements you did. So let's just jump on into it real quick.
All right. Yeah. So I'll do like a quick look for the deck list. So Dorimon's 4. That one probably will never change.
Nope.
And we go for the rookies here. So I am running 11 rookies. Since it was a regional, I don't think you want to risk 10 rookies on a format without mulligans.
Mm-hmm.
With mulligans, you can push yourself to the limit, cutting one rookie. But on a regional without mulligans, I would not take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
And because all the rookies are X-antibodies, they are sources for you to pull from your Cool Boy, from Grademon, which I'll come back to later. So, 4 Dorumons, 4 Ryuda, and 4 of the new Dorumons from BT9. There was consideration for Sonorizamons,
Mm-hmm.
which gave Sec +1 inheritable to anything that's 13k DP or less, which sounds so powerful. But the problem with that card is you cut off on consistency with not having an X antibody as a source or something that could raise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know like you like the OTK kind of strategies, like the one couple big cards. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the deck because a couple cards will indicate that, but yeah, that's unreal. Like it's tempting, but I understand why it feels like a trap at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of a trap for consistency, and if you're playing a 8-9 round tournament, you want to have that consistent deck to play your playstyle over and over again.
Sure.
So next it's simply the Doruga and the Dex Doruga back to the OE.
Mm-hmm.
I did try out other iterations of level 4s, having like 2 the one that gives blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot its name. Like the Raymon Evo.
Yeah.
I did try to put 2 of it. But eventually I decided I didn't really need it. This is still the most powerful play because this will trigger your Cool Boy effect and essentially just gain you 2 memory out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's the only card that will trigger Cool Boy in this deck, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you always kind of want Dex Doruga. the same time because for putting cards in your trash, which this deck really wants to do. And now for the level 5s, it's simply 4 Grademon, 1 Dorumon.
Oh man, you're running super thin on these lines. I didn't recognize that during the weekend, but that's very thin.
So I could explain this one. This one's kind of controversial, but there is like some talk about it. So why not Hisaryu? Why Grademon?
Yeah.
The problem with Hisaryu is Hisaryu is really combo reliant, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You want the X antibody option in your hand to have Hisaryu as like really be effective, or you want at least Yuji out, which sometimes it does happen, sometimes it doesn't, and your lines of play might also be like if you're playing Hisaryu over Grademon, you want more of the BT6 Alpha, which I'll come back to later. Grademon just gives overall more consistency to the deck, because Grademon, when digivolving, he reveals tops 3, searches for a Alphamon in its name, so you could pick out either the Oryuken or Alphamon,
mm-hmm.
and tuck in something under your source and put something trash. What's the more important thing is tucking under the source.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, you can tuck whatever you want under the source, because the line of play would be you want your stack to have at least 7 sources for your Oryuken to like take off and do your Oryuken gain memory play.
Yeah.
And running Grademon is essentially the same as Dorugray, where Dorugray tucks in something.
Mm-hmm.
Grademon essentially does it the same way. You are running the risk of whiffing, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think I did see that in the finals once or twice, but
yeah. I think I hit it like definitely once or twice during the whole tournament, but that's over like I don't know how many times I evoed into Grademon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also why like the 11 rookies as a number count is more effective, because you don't want to whiff on this one too.
No.
So yeah, just like the whole line having so many sources, it will reach 7 because it's rookie, Dex Doru, then Grademon and whatever Grademon tucked in, then Alpha Evos to tuck in something from trash, and if you have X antibody, that's essentially 8 sources you could take out. Yeah. So this makes or you can play much more effective in my opinion. And the 1 Dory, of course, because you still the best card.
It still is. Yeah, you have to.
And also another reason for the 5 ratio. If you really think about it, the old Alphamon list ran 4 Dorugray, 3 Dex Dorugray.
Mm-hmm.
So what you really had on the old Alpha list is essentially 4 good level targets. You never wanted to Evo Dex Dorugray on top of your level 4.
Mm-hmm.
You always wanted Dorugray first. And now with the 5 count, the 5 count essentially bumped the level 5 ratios, because Evoing Dex Dorugray always felt bad.
Yes.
Even if you imagine you had like 7 level 5s, but you only had 4 targets for it on the old Alphamon list. Yeah. So this is a little bit more consistent, I feel. And the Grademon, also the inheritable of Grademon, delete a play cost of 5 or less after the end of attack if you have an Alphamon on its name, comes up so much on this format. A simple one would be when you evo into Alpha, Digivolve, swing, and essentially pop whatever it Digivolved. Hopefully it's like a play cost of 5 or less. So a lot of players don't really see that coming. They think, all right, if I'm gonna get Digivolved once, I don't really get punished because I'll still have a stack there or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
but they don't see like all right, actually Greymon pops it, uh and also like Bloomlord matchups, if you're able to tuck in like 2 Greymons,
Oh,
it's
sure. Yeah.
devastating for them. They go wide and they think sometimes players think, oh, I'm not gonna get punished here. You're gonna pop something that's high, but actually, all right, I'm gonna actually just wipe your board here, and you just reverse the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
So Greymon is really powerful if you compare it to Hisaryu, which Hisaryu only has like reboot.
Yeah, yeah, and the only thing you're really missing out on it from, I guess, like the original line is one, the defense, like, yeah, as you said, Duro Greymon's really great, so it's hard to outclass that. But
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing you're missing is just being able to get cool boy triggers on level 5, but you couldn't really do that anyways.
Yeah. And one thing also, just in case some players would want to try it, because I already tried it, having the one Dex Doro Gray, so you'll have like a sixth level 5 to Evo on top of a Doro Gray. I would advise not to do it because out of 100 games, you would only do that combo probably, I don't know, 5 times out of 100 games.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
like never consistent enough, and you just have like a level 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, which you can, I guess, still Evo for. You can still Evo that for 3 if you discard a card on the Evo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it still would really feel bad because you can't tuck in anything under. No effects, no inheritable, and losing a card from hand. Sure, it synergizes with the deck, but still, I would not recommend it. And yep, let's go to level 6. 3 Oryumon, standard. 3 Alpha BT10. Oh, BT9, sorry. Also standard, and still the one BT6 Alpha. I feel some other players tried like 2 Alpha, 2 of the new, 2 of the old, because they are running the Hisaryu package. But this is, I feel like, the more consistent ratio for it.
Sure.
Because you could I like the one of just have like the option for the BT6 Alpha because it's amazing in security, or sometimes you just want that extra memory gain.
Yeah, yeah, that memory can be huge.
Yeah, and lastly, 3 Oryukens. I would never advise anyone to run 2 Oryukens. Just to have it safe, because if it's in trash once, if you're running 2, yeah, you're essentially digging for that one, if it's in security, one of them is in security, and you're only playing 2, you're essentially just digging for that one Oryuken, and this deck just loves to go into Oryuken.
Yeah, it's never a bad play.
Yeah. 4 Cool Boys, because everyone knows Robo's broken.
Yeah.
Yep. Easy enough. 4 UGs and 2 Kodas. So a lot of people would think Mem Boost. They'd go for Mem Boost instead of Coda. But Alphamon's weakness is memory blockers.
Sure.
And Coda just circumvents it for the one extra memory, and having like a memory setter. Yeah, why would you risk having memory block if you put a Mem Boost out?
Yeah, and
so
I get how tempting it's really tempting, right? Because it's a good card.
Yeah.
And you are a little bit easier to find your pieces, but yeah, I think Coda makes sense.
Yeah, because the main weakness of the deck also is memory blockers. The Greymon surely could effectively destroy all memory blockers, but that's when you are able to go into Greymon already on top of like an Alpha and swing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there. And one Ultimate Flare, because this card saved me so many times already. I have to put one in every black deck I make.
Yeah.
1 X antibody option. I did run 2 before. I tried 2. 2 is amazing. But deck space is limited, and having 1 is not too bad. You'll actually just find it over the course of the game.
Yeah.
2, Breath of the Gods, because Garuru, anything bounce or anything bot deck is still amazing. I used to cut Breath of the Gods to 1 and have two X Anybody options. When I went X2 on an Ulti Cup, I regretted it. I completely regret it. Now I'm putting it back at 2. And
Gotcha.
no, don't do it. Have it at 2. And Zubagon Punch at 2 as like the one that I feel like really fixes the deck overall, and have everything still stick together.
Yeah.
Essentially right now with Zubagon Punch, the OT option for Oryuken or for Alphamon as the deck is still there. You have 3 things to target for Sec +1: the Dorugray, the Zubagon, and the Zubagon, and three things to have your +1 is consistent enough. Like you will see it in every single game. Every game I won, I'm pretty sure I did a Sec +1 play, either from tucking in Dorugray or doing Zubagon Punch, and now it's like more or less I'm just looking for that or you being tucked in from my UG plays. So I will always have that unsuspend now.
Yeah.
And now you could just like extend your plays with Sec +1 now with Zubagon Punch.
Yeah, and
And
it's very easy
yeah.
for you to have that memory for that too, especially with Oryuken, and you know how its
Yeah.
end of turn extends you back to your turn, and I think that's why you like are saying, yeah, always have 7 memory or 7 sources, because that will almost always guarantee you enough memory to be able to make your plays.
Yep. And also like that's why I cut the Hisaryu and level 4 of the Ryuda line with the blocker and reboot inheritable, because this alone will give the blocker, reboot inheritable plus 3k until the end of your opponent's turn, which is devastating for other matchups. Like other some decks can't deal with that 19k blocker.
No, it's
One
it's oppressive.
One big example I would say is Wargrey X. So I had a Wargrey X matchup yesterday, and now because they like to hide in raising and make their stack, now you could actually be aggressive, and if you find your Zubagon Punch, you have to be aggressive, because all you need to do is go into Oryuken and put Zubagon Punch on you or Oryuken. And sure, you're taunting your opponent. Okay, go ahead, raise. Even if you get plus 3k DP from Metal Greymon X and everything like that, sure, swing. Let me block that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, then
so
that's the deck list for you there, right? And then maybe we can just naturally go into like matchup specific stuff and the matchups that you saw.
Sure. I have a cheat sheet here from yesterday. So my matchups yesterday were Wargrex, Jesmon, Examon, Garuru, Malga, Bloomlord, another Garurumon, another Bloomlord, and my final match, Chris Sock, is Set Control.
Yeah, which is your only loss. Spoilers for the finals and the winner for the event. So not too shabby for that loss over there.
Yeah. So if you can see through the matchups, I had like a wide variety of different decks to play up against, and I would say if you're playing Alphamon, you kind of have to know your opponent's deck also. So you could have specific play styles to approach different decks. So let's say because Garuru and Bloomlord is everywhere, and I would say Alphamon plays really well up against them. And how to play up against it, if I could give a little bit of pointers, is what you essentially want to do is set gamers. You need at least a level 5 in the back, and you need to set up tamers, because their decks always have the initiative, to start swinging first. They will go through your security first, and they will start pressuring you. And hopefully, there's a couple tamers there in security. Hopefully, there's some security bombs there. The deck essentially has 4 security bombs with 2 Breath of the Gods, Flare, and Alphamon. But you could essentially consider all tamers as security bombs to help you out on your crackback. So yeah, once you're playing up against either a Guru or a Bloomlord deck, they raise up, they start swinging, and you have to be ready to raise up yourself and punish them for doing so. And you will have like your 2 turns, because since they raised up first, they'll be hatching an egg on the next turn, and you're gonna be like, all right, wipe the board, do some chip, and the next turn you go for game.
Yeah.
So it's just like a tempo swing, to run up against that deck or those deck. What else could I say? Yeah, it's just getting used to the deck also. Let's say, sure, I said keep in raising with a level 4, but sometimes you do want to raise up first to put things on board and or drop treasures. But one thing I like to do as a alpha player is display. So turn 1 would be a evo into a rookie and drop UG. Most players would be, I'll save my stack here, I'll just drop something and go on with my plays. But what I like to do is raise this rookie, turn 2, gain the memory, gain a draw. So UG essentially just gave you a draw. Swing this rookie, have this side, tap UG, tuck in a Oryumon, because I want an Oryumon in trash, and draw for Dory. So UG became a drop for 3, but became a 2 cost, draw 2 cards. So you kind of have to get used to that deck, playing that way for a bit. Then hopefully you have like either a searcher next, or something I always love to do is if I have UG and Coda, I will drop Coda on the next one and start making my stack and get ready for my punishes once they're there.
Yeah, and in
So
general, it seems like the play style of this deck is going from, I would say, like very big OTK to kind of like a more slow. You can do some control-y things, you can do some interaction with your opponent, and then when you're safe to, you just start doing the big old punch.
Yeah, you just burst out of nowhere, and sometimes your opponent doesn't see it coming. And another, so that's one way of playing it, but another way of playing the deck is also aggression. So you could aggress early if you know the opposing deck can't punish you. So let's say up against an Examon deck or Wargrave X, because I played them yesterday. I could easily raise and go into Grademon, and Grademon searches, tucks in, gets me another extra draw. I'll find my Alphamon, and my opponent's still back there sitting in raising, and I probably won't swing, but I feel safe that Grademon lets me have that stack out there already. They might do like a big removal, or like a Megadeth or a Gaia Force, but that'll be like a lot of memory for a level 5. So yeah, so you have to kind of realize what you're playing up against, and essentially there's different ways of piloting the deck. And there's also anti-security control tactics. Spoiler for if anyone didn't watch yesterday's finals, you could do an infinite loop with or you can in his place, and never deck out. And what you only have to do is start removing any Secon type decks pressure from you. Yeah. You're allowed to do that on a security matchup, and that's why I don't like running Congo, because you have access to that one, So you have a play style that you could achieve up against a like long drawn out game, and Congo is only useful for security control for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty bad on any other deck. So
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't have deck space for a card like that.
Yeah, because we unfortunately saw you just eat like a really, really big chaos degradation and security. And yeah, obviously
Yeah,
Kongu would let you circumvent that, but other than that, it's literally
yeah,
that one card. And I understand
yeah.
deck space for that one card is pretty tight.
Yeah, and cause I got hit by it yesterday. One lesson also is if you're up against any security control type decks, or you can sack always have an Alphamon under it because that X is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And spoiler, I lost to that Xmon. That X wins the year. And you want because most security control type decks or control type decks love to play that Xmon.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be expecting it, which I forgot yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And what you want to do to circumvent that is always have your Alphamon under your Ryukin stack.
Mm-hmm.
Once they drop the Death X, sure it'll Digivolve into level 6 again, but you could just go back to Oryuken and pick up the Oryuken that
Mm-hmm.
got the Digivolve it somewhere under later. But yeah, I have been hit by that one for I don't know how many times, and I have not learned my
Yeah,
lesson,
yeah,
and I
because
lost it.
you get all your sources away. It's just that, and you know, like the level 2 Digitama, which you can't put it back in your deck, and
Yeah,
that D-Digivolve one turns into just hard removal, unfortunately.
yeah, and this one can't survive the field; it
Yeah,
just goes away.
just goes away.
Yep,
Well, cool. Well, I really
and yeah.
finish it off. What's last uh
Oh, I
thoughts?
just want to end with uh deck is pretty good on a lot of matchups in the format, but I do have to warn there over my testing there is two decks I'm kind of afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a 44-6 matchup in favor of these two decks.
Mm-hmm.
It would be Blue Flare and Gaiomon decks.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, those two decks. To simply explain, Gaiomon easily could pop your Tamers,
Mm-hmm.
and your Tamers is your like
You need them. Yeah.
engine for the deck. And Blue Flare somehow it's really annoying because your searchers are detrimental for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your stack is sitting there waiting, and they could always like stun it.
Yeah.
And if you have double stacks, it actually gets frozen. Yeah, those two decks kind of annoying for this deck. So
Yeah,
this
like
deck's not
I would
perfect.
say what probably traditional Alphamon, like yeah, Alphamon just goes up all in one turn, but since you kind of have to have that kind of intermittent like in between turn with this deck
Hmm.
sometimes, yeah, Blue Flare can definitely capitalize on that.
Yes.
Okay, well, cool. I really do appreciate you taking the time sitting down and talk about this. Any shout outs or any closing thoughts before we end it?
Oh yeah. I mean, shout out to DXN and all my locals.
Mm-hmm.
And to everyone I played yesterday, it was amazing matches. Bloomlord, usually Bloomlord, I have a bad matchup, but Frosty played really well on it, and Chris Sock played amazing during the last match too.
Mm-hmm.
Like man, Secon, I thought I had a big advantage up against Secon.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It was really close. I thought you guys. I'm very surprised you guys didn't tie. It got really down to it. So
yeah, down the wire. So yeah, but thank you.
yeah, well, really appreciate it again. Really do. If you guys appreciate this video too, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and that will be it for us. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.